Good morning, everyone. Just gonna wait for you guys to tune in. Come on in. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Come on in. Whenever we have small good news, it's always important to celebrate. I'm Grace. Good morning. If this is your first time, definitely comment so I can give you a shout out. Sunnison, good morning. Sandeep, good morning. I am Joanna. Good morning, Black Brunette. Good morning, Franca Addo on YouTube. Good morning. Welcome, guys. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer. I represent clients in all 50 states of the United States with their immigration matters. If you'd like to schedule a consultation, give us a call, 407-995-6567. Let me just put that number in here and pin it before we get started. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, you should be able to see that number like scrolling through the bottom. So definitely save it. All right, guys, let me just pin this. Okay, so now let's pin it and just get right into it. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It was a super busy morning for me yesterday. I had an interview, so I couldn't come on live. But I wanted to first start with talking about breaking news. Late last night, a federal judge, if you guys, know anything that's been going on about TPS, first of all, TPS is temporary protected status, where the U.S. granted temporary protected status to people from certain countries because their countries were not safe, for them, like, the security issues, gang violence issues, acts of war, and specifically, I'm talking about Haiti. And so the TPS was supposed to terminate for Haitians today, which would have basically displaced 350,000 people who are here in the United States legally because they were granted TPS. And DHS brought their case, and a federal court judge basically said no, they're going to put the cancellation on hold. And one of the things that the judge pointed out was that, you are supposed to go to the country and present facts that the country is in fact safe for people to return back to before you just terminate that and disrupt or destroy people's lives. But the government couldn't prove that. All they had was basically an email basically saying it's safe for them to return back, but really could not prove that going back to Haiti is safe, which, still has a lot of insecurity, still is not safe for many people. And so the judge basically said no. I'm putting a pause on this, so if you're Haitian and you're TPS, temporarily you can continue to work and be free from detention because you are still considered legally here. Now, this is not to say they have said that they're going to appeal it, so this is not to say what's going to come out in appeal, but every day that someone or an immigrant is safe when they've come here legally, is a blessing and something to celebrate because, this entire time, people have always said it's all about doing it legally, do it legally. And even for people who are doing it legally, they're displacing people, who have done it legally and have done what they're meant to do. So this is a victory, and just the same way with last week, with them halting TPS on Venezuelans as well, because they want them to prove that it's safe for them to return back there. One of the things that the judges mentioned is that this seems to be racially motivated, which, arguably it is, so, I'll keep you guys updated as we find out more, but that is good news for people of Haiti who are here on TPS, and Venezuelans. So let's jump right into it. What's going on? Someone says, I got an RFE for my I-864. Should I be worried? What should I do? You should absolutely not be worried about your I-864. Believe it or not, the most common RFE for people to receive and the most common reason for people to get denied for an I-485 where an I-864 is necessary, which is usually typically in a marriage-based case, is based on their financial affidavit of support, which is an I-864. I cannot tell you how many people get this wrong, like no exaggeration. The RFE, I don't know what your RFE looks like, Zidane. So we're happy to look at it just to see if we can help you respond to it. But typically, it's either people miscalculating their income, not providing proof of that income, or thinking that the proof of the income they're providing is what USCIS is asking for, not counting their dependents correctly on the IRS tax transcript. So many variables. That's what usually causes people to get denied on an RFE. So what you don't want to do is ignore that RFE. But what you do want to do is make sure that when you do respond to the RFE, that you respond to every and any single thing that they're requesting that needs to be clarified. Meaning you need to check each box of what it is that you need to respond to. If you miss one, just one of it, your case will be denied. So you want to make sure that you get that done because, some of the denials I'm seeing right now are extremely painful. Like when I'm talking about painful, meaning like they've been placed in deportation and they're coming to us because they've been placed in deportation. Let me give you an example, of a case where the client or the applicants filed it themselves or used a notarial or whatever, consultant or one of those people that say they prepare applications for a marriage-based case. They forgot to submit an I-130A. That is literally the only thing that was missing in their application. And they didn't have enough time to respond to the RFE when they were informed of the RFE, and they were placed in removal proceedings. A good faith, solid marriage. Do you know how painful that is? Like to be facing deportation proceedings because you forgot to submit one simple form, So you want to make sure that the silly things and the simple things that you don't just think, oh, I got this in the bag, that you know what you're doing, okay? All right. Someone is asking any updates on the 75 countries outside of on hold with the adjustment of status in the U.S. Rose, that is an inaccurate statement. That is not true. There are not 75 countries on hold with an adjustment of status in the United States. So make sure you're very, very clear. There are only 39 countries that have an adjudicative hold in the U.S. for adjustment of status. So this is what I'm saying about misinformation. One person carries information and passes on the wrong information to someone. There are 75 countries that cannot consular process from outside. It's very important to understand outside the United States, not inside. So there are only 39 countries in the US that are on hold. And no updates yet. Ask me in March, which is the first time when they said we're going to get an update of how they're going to be processing these cases. So as of today, no updates for you. It's Dexter. Good morning. Can you apply for a student visa if a green card application has been submitted? Sure, if you are in status, because you say a green card application has been submitted, but I don't know whether you're in status or whether you're in the United States. But in every category other than a humanitarian-based case or an adjustment of status to a U.S. citizen, you must be in status to get any kind of immigration benefit. In status means that you have to be legally here and you've not come out of status, you've not worked under the table, blah, 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 blah. Okay? All right, let's see. Okay, I'm worried. I got my I-130 approved by USCIS, and my case is with National Visa Center, waiting for my interview date, and I'm from Nigeria. What I'll just recommend to you is just tell them that you would like to. So I don't know if you've gotten documentary qualified. Have you gotten documentary qualified and then you're just waiting on your interview, or it's gone to NVC and you're about to start your application? So the answer I'm going to give you is depending on which one. If you've been documentary qualified, you're probably not going to be scheduled for an interview in Nigeria for probably another year and a half, regardless, right? Your I-130 is there, and that approval will not change. What you have to do is you have to let them know if they do schedule you that you would like to reschedule when the ban is lifted. That's what you're going to let them do. You'd like to reschedule when the ban is lifted. If your case has not been documentary qualified, you can let them, you don't have to upload everything to get it documentary qualified. The key is that every year you have to touch your application. And what do I mean by touching your application? It means that you have to let them know, I intend to continue to pursue this case. I'm waiting for the lift to be lifted to keep my case open. As long as you send that email to NVC, Public Inquiry, at least once a year, your case will stay open until they lift the ban outside of the United States. See how I keep saying outside of the United States, okay? All right, let's see what else we got here. How do you know if you're on a deportation list or removal proceedings? Typically, the first signal would be you have an alien number. If you have an alien number, you can go on EOIR and search based on your alien number. Let me tell you what the EOIR is called. acis.eoir.justice.gov/en/. Go on there and type in your alien number and the country of your passport. And if you are in deportation proceedings, your name will pop up there. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. Are work permits still being given to applicants from the 39 countries? Not until after April. Not until after April, once we know what they're doing with it. So you can apply for your work permit. It's just going to not be approved before then, unless you have extraordinary circumstances. We have a case right now that we're testing out based on extraordinary circumstances. And we're going to see if that exception works for that person. And if it does, then I'll be sure to let you guys know. But as they've said, nothing till 90 days from January 1st. 90 days from January 1st is what we've been told. So we can answer that question. So any of you in those 39 countries that have an adjustment of status with your case pending, just add plus 3 months to whatever the timeline is. If it says the timeline is 12 months, just add plus 15 months, because you're going to enter into some sort of backlog. So, once we know, we'll let you guys know how they plan to do it. But just expect stricter scrutiny and stricter review processes if you're from one of those countries. Okay. Can you apply for parole after VAWA is approved? Geraldine, it just really depends on what your case type is. In order to apply for advanced parole based on VAWA, you have to have a pending I-485. So the first question for you is, do you have a pending I-485? If you have a pending I-485, then you can apply for advanced parole, okay? And this is only if you're not in removal proceedings, okay? All right. I missed my visa payment. I couldn't pay, and the portal hasn't been opened again since 2023. Please, what should I do? I don't really understand your question. What visa payment? Are you like an immigrant visa? Like what are you? Like, I need to know what kind of visa. My question is, can I apply for adjustment of status now if I'm married to an American citizen? Your profile picture is very funny. The answer to FABLA is going to depend on how you entered into the United States. So once you tell me how you entered into the United States, I will let you know whether or not you should or can. I got my 10-year green card, and USCIS made a mistake on my name. What process should I do to get it fixed? Thank you. You're going to have to send the green card back to USCIS with a letter, with your form, and I-90 letting them know that there is an error, a typographical error on your stuff. Provide proof of your either your passport or your birth certificate that shows the correct name, and then they will send you back a new one. Okay, but at least the I-90 will act as like your green card, And then with the I-90, you can get an added stamp on your passport so you can have a green card with you while it's processing, because I-90s do take some time. I was detained by ICE and I went to court and won my VAWA cancellation of removal. Congratulations. I was told I won my permanent resident after this. Basically, my USCIS case has been granted. Is this true? I don't know. I don't know your case. I would have to see the judge's order to be able to tell you. But, you know, it seems like it's good. Someone says, can you pin the website you called out? Sorry, I can't pin it. I just have my phone numbers pinned already. But just Google EOIR website and you should be able to find it. I missed my visa payment, an immigrant visa. My portal for payment has been reopened for payment since 2023. Please, what can I do? You can't, so are you already in the United States? Because you can pay when you enter into the United States. So, or have you been outside of the United States since 2023? Because you have a window that you have to enter into the United States by. But, you know, at any time you can go into the portal and pay for it. They're not going to give you a green card until you pay for it. The website is very, 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 very tricky. And it takes a few tries and paying attention to where the numbers they're asking you for to put it in there for it to work. It's very, very, very tricky. I can tell you that every single client that has finished their process, like, oh, okay, you know, when we get in here, we'll pay. Every single one of them, like 100% of them, have called us and said we can't figure it out, and then we ended up doing it for them. I'm in America and I want to petition for my daughter in Jamaica. Can I go ahead and do it? Yeah. So while there's a pause on it, you can still file the I-130 for sure. And then once the I-130 is approved and consular processing, I'm sure that they would have lifted the pause. So you should definitely get her on that line. Good morning. I live in Jacksonville. My adjustment case says my interview has been waived and my case is on Jacksonville office. What does that mean and what do I expect? Honestly, I highly doubt that your interview is waived regardless of what it says there. I don't know what country you're from, so, you know, that would help. So just fully expect that you're going to have an interview, depending on what case type, actually. What is your case type? Maybe that will help. I'm from one of the banned countries. Can I apply for adjustment of status? In the United States, you have to tell me what country you're from in order for me to answer you. But there are many countries on the 39 list that are only on adjudicative hold. They're not banned in the United States. They're on adjudicative hold, and you should apply for adjustment of status because a hold means that it's temporary. There's a bit of a delay, but they will lift the hold, so you should still apply. Approved for the I-485, asked to go for biometrics, but have not received my appointment letter for the biometrics. My driver's license is expiring soon. Can I get temporary proof of my residency? No, you cannot. You have to be approved, meaning not just them saying it by mouth. They have to actually, you know, issue you a green card in order for you to renew your driver's license. Okay. I got approved for VAWA. What's the next step? The next step will depend on what you filed. If you filed an adjustment of status with your VAWA application, the next step would be a green card interview or a green card interview waived and an approval. So it just depends on what you submitted. I have a pending case in September of 2024. The green card was denied due to inadmissible reasons, which I filed a waiver for, and it was approved in 2024, and yet I haven't heard from them. Time for you to file a lawsuit or congressional assistance. If it was approved and you have proof, meaning you have an approval letter that your case was approved, but you still have not received the green card, you might want to try congressional assistance. I missed 2 biometric appointments due to some issues. I'm currently waiting for a new appointment date. Status on site says waiting for officer review. Currently in the US applying for marriage. How long do I have to wait to get another appointment? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take you to get a new biometrics. Can you remarry while your I-751 petition waiver of abuse is pending? Yes, you can. Guys, this is a very, very huge distinction between a VAWA case based on an I-360 on abuse and an I-751 case based on you having a 2-year conditional residency and abuse. In a VAWA I-360 case, you cannot remarry while your VAWA case is pending. If you remarry, your case will be denied or your approval will be revoked if you remarry while your case is pending. If you have an I-751, you can remarry if you want while your case is pending. You still have to prove that the marriage is real, but you can remarry. Sakir says, thank you for everything you do. Thank you. I really appreciate that. My passport is expired and I entered the US legally and I've applied for a new one almost a year ago in my country. Will this cause any issues? No, it won't cause any issues. I got my 10-year green card via VAWA and I'm divorced from my abusive ex. Will remarrying before being eligible for citizenship affect me when applying for citizenship? No. The very existence of VAWA means that you had marital conflict with your spouse because they're abusive. USCIS doesn't penalize you for moving on from an abusive marriage and choosing to be in a committed relationship with someone. So no, you're fine. I filed for VAWA 3 years ago. How soon will I get some answers? Stacey Salz, what country are you from? VAWA cases are taken, regardless of what country you're from, even if you're not part of those that are going to be experiencing delays. VAWA cases right now are taking like 3 years to 3.5 years. So you're still within what they consider normal processing time. Dafetuga, March 1st concept morning. My citizenship application has been on processing status since June that I did my biometrics, though my green card was extended for 24 months. I thought my interview schedule is long overdue. What country are you from? You know, these days, the first question I have to ask is what country are you from? Because depending on your country, if they didn't already schedule it, you know, that might be what is causing the hold, because they would not be able to make a decision if you're from one of the 39 countries. How long are you seeing T visa applications take? T applications, I would say about 18 months. 18 months is what we're seeing on average, 18 months, so much less than VAWA cases. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me answer this one. From YouTube, I sent my petition for VAWA on the 1st of October at Nebraska. Submission address got changed later. Till this time, no receipt has been issued. While calling USAID, they say I sent it to the wrong address. Honestly, it's just really frustrating with Nebraska, let me tell y'all. You know, like anyone that comments and says, you know, I sent my case to Nebraska, or comments, sorry, and says that they're waiting on their VAWA receipt, I can 100 times bet that it is from Nebraska. Nebraska, you know, I don't know what's going on with Nebraska, but because of whatever is going on with Nebraska, that's why they open all these other locations, right? That's why they open other locations so that they can start processing things quicker. Anything that's sent to Nebraska is going to be delayed. As of October 1st, I do know that the locations changed. So I don't know exactly where you live or what location is for you, because I don't know your case, but I would suggest that you refile it to the correct location. But also know that in order for you to refile it to the correct location, you want to also make sure you have new medicals, because you got to send medicals, as frustrating as it is. But since you just sent it, sometimes your doctor's office will just be able to reissue like a new medical for a nominal fee. So that's what I would recommend that you do. Okay. I have a pending case for my I-751. I'm from Haiti. It's been more than 2 years since I applied for removal of conditions, but it's taken so long. Removal of conditions do take a long time, which is why they give 48-month extension. So that's not surprising. That said, you are now in one of the countries, you are a citizen of one of the countries right now that has a pause on decisions until they give directives of how they want to review this. So, you can expect a little bit of delay in there. Just continue to renew your added stamp on your passport if your extension has expired. But if it was just 2 years ago, you should have the 48-month extension. Who's this person? K Money. What are you talking about? K Money says, this lawyer is pregnant. I swear with the name of Almighty God. I reject that. I'm not pregnant. I have 2 children and I'm very, very happy with my 2 children. So I'm returning that right back to you. You can give that to someone who wants to have another child. But thank you. All right. I'm from Jamaica. I filed for VAWA in 2022. When will they process my case? Okay, so your case is not on. There's no hold for Jamaicans in the United States. Your case is processing normally. You are in a normal timeline. They are making decisions in 2022 cases. So you probably will get something in the next few months. Either an RFE, a decision of an approval, annoyed or whatever, but you will get something most likely. How about green card holders with pending I-751s but are already due for N-400 application? Will they know their fate by April 1st? I don't know that you will know your fate by April 1st, but by April 1st, we expect to know how the new process that they're using to make decisions on cases from those 39 countries that they're holding right now. If you are eligible for an N-400, you should still apply so that way when you are scheduled, they will do both your interviews together at the same time. And then, you're just one and done. Okay. How soon can I apply for naturalization after receiving a green card through VAWA when married to an LPR? Taken in consideration, I joined the military as soon as I got my green card. So it's typically 3 years. That is the requirement. How about green card holders from Nigeria with pending I-751 but already due? Oh, well, I just answered this question. VAWA cases take 3 years, so 3.5 years. If it says you're glowing, I'm glad you're feeling better than the past weeks. Thank you. Just taking it one day at a time. Good, bad days, but we just keep pushing and trusting God for everything. Well, I gotta go, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll try to be on live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If I didn't get to your question, definitely schedule a consultation so we can talk about your own particular case. If you have an RFE, I know that person that was asking an 8864, you want to definitely have a lawyer look at that RFE because, again, RFEs are what's getting people into deportation proceedings right now. So don't make a mistake. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.